I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I am your host, Dano. You guys, I'm going to tell you right now, I got a pretty cool guest on. I know this guy pretty well. His name's Ashes. He's one of the moderators on my channel. So when I do my lives, he's on there. In case anybody starts acting crazy, he drops a hammer on him. But, what's really cool about Ashes is, he also has his own podcast called The Boom Boom Room. So go to YouTube and check out The Boom Boom Room and that is a great podcast. He's going to get into talking about some encounters that he had. Now, all these encounters took place in Oklahoma. He had one in 2011. He had a really strange one in about 85 when he was a kid. And then he's going to recount a couple of encounters. One that was his cousin had, and then a really close friend of his had too when she was a child. So you guys, before we bring him on, again, thank you so much for all the support. If you guys have had an encounter and you love to come on the show, or you'd like to come on the show, please shoot me an email at thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. Again, thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. And also, Josh Smith from Mysteries Unknown and myself. Also, we combined our superpowers and we have created a podcast called Mysteries and Cryptids. It's on YouTube. We don't have anything yet. We're working with some stuff. We've already shot a couple of things. We're doing some editing on that. But if you'd like to check out the website for it, you can go over to www.mysteriesandcryptids.com. There's still some stuff in progress working on there, but you can kind of navigate through it a little bit. You guys, that's all I got for right now. So let's go ahead and bring over our guest, Ashes. What's up, brother?
How are you?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Oh, really, really good. I'm glad to be on here. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, we've talked about this. I don't know how long, man. Months.
Yep.
And
months.
Finally got you on there. You've been busy. Now, not only do you do your own podcast, The Boom Boom Room, but you also have a channel where you play video games on. You stream video games.
Yep.
And
exactly right.
You guys, I don't like these kind of video games, but I can't stop watching them. And he'll tell you, I've dropped in at like 11 o'clock at night, and I've stayed till like 2 or 3 in the morning watching him play this game.
Yes, you have. But yeah, I enjoy it. That's my main channel, Ashes Antics, and I've had it almost 3 years. And then I guess been about 8 or 9 months ago, I just want to start the Boom Boom Room. Be honest with you, you and Josh kind of inspired me to start the podcast.
Cool, man.
Yeah, I enjoy it though. But I interview different content creators, and then I've got a main series called Whispers, where we started alphabetical order, going through all 50 states, telling folklore and ghost stories and stuff like that. And the 24th of October, we got a premiere. We've got a special Halloween special 2025, and done a lot of work on that. So that's going to be cool, So you guys check it out if you can.
Awesome. You guys heard it here. Check it out. You said October 24th.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay. Hey, you guys, I'm just going to let Ashes get into his encounter. So, Ashes, take it away, brother.
All right. It's all me. Well, first I want to start out. I grew up, I'm in Arkansas now, probably 5 miles from the Oklahoma line. But I grew up my whole life in LaFleur County. It's eastern Oklahoma. It's right on the line. Not far from the Arkansas River, probably about 3 miles from the Arkansas River. But what happened, this encounter here kind of got me going down the rabbit hole of cryptids. This is what, probably a year ago, I started watching different shows. Too many to name, Josh's channels, Daniel's channel. But in 2011, I was married to my ex-wife, and it was some some of her family land. It was probably about a quarter mile off the highway and about 3 miles from the Arkansas River. Now, 3 miles down there by the Arkansas River, they got something that's called spiral mounds. And what those are is Native American, Indian grounds, burial grounds. But they're supposed to be really old Caddo Indians from 2,000 years ago. But and a lot of strange things happened when they took the artifacts. When they found the artifacts and took them to Oklahoma City, a lot of people died mysteriously. But I don't want to get into that. I'll start with my encounter. It was 2011. It was about 2:30 in the morning. I went out to smoke. I was smoking cigarettes at the time, and was sitting on the front porch. I just bought a new mobile home, and I say it's about 60 yards from my porch. There's some woods, and my family owned these woods because this is off of a gravel road, and these woods were real narrow. But if you follow them, because we would play in there when we was kids, basically live in the woods, playing and stuff. And you can follow them all the way to the river. I mean, you don't even have to see anybody; just go straight through the woods. But anyway, I remember that I was smoking on the porch. Moon was out; it was real bright, and all of a sudden, I hear something crashing through the woods, and all I can explain, it was like an elephant coming through there. Well, first of all, I thought it was those mule or side by side ATVs. I thought it was one of those coming through there real fast, but there was no sound at all. There was no motor sound or anything. It sounded like a freaking Volkswagen coming through there. But so I'm sitting there looking, and I started seeing the smaller trees kind of like it slowed down a little bit, but I can still hear it crashing. And the trees started like parting. It was like Jurassic Park. That's all I can explain it as. And finally, my mind was going, what is this? Your mind starts rationalizing it. What is this? Is this ATV? Is this? I know there's no way a human or any kind of animal, like I said, except some kind of elephant, would be making that noise. So I'm looking. I don't know how long it went on for. I'll be honest with you. Thinking back now. But when it got to when I kind of seen the trees and it gets to the edge to where the opening is, and the opening wasn't that big before there was another mobile home, my uncle's, because the opening was probably big enough. There used to be a small church there that my dad and my uncles built a long time ago, but it burnt down. Somebody burned it down, like 6 or 7 years before this incident. But anyway, it gets close to the edge of the clearing and it stops. And I'm thinking, I'm looking, there's going to be a four-wheeler ATV coming out in the clearing. And that's when all I can tell you is it roared. And when it roared, it seemed like it lasted probably about 3 seconds, maybe. And all I can explain to you about the roar is it sounded like a lion, and it was just straight guttural. And I've went to races before. I've went to NASCAR races, IndyCar races, and how the vehicles, and when they rev the engine and it just vibrates your inside, heart, guts, everything. That's what it done. It just vibrated my whole insides. And I remember that I was frozen stiff. I remember I had a cigarette like this and I was frozen stiff. And when it quit, and first of all, I was sober when this happened, 100% sober. I opened up the door, screen door of the mobile home, and walked in. And to be honest with you, when it happened, I thought it was something, evil, you know. Uh, but hindsight, I look back, I know 100% that it was Bigfoot or, Sasquatch. But I come in my mobile home, and I think, to be honest with you, I grabbed my Bible and I can't remember anything else. Not one thing. I can't even remember going to sleep or nothing like that. Now, after it happened, I told my wife at the time, and I don't want to get into what, she's just immature and just, didn't even pay attention to me. And I just put it off as it was something that was evil. I didn't, because back then I believed it was Bigfoot, but I thought, it was just something, some animal that's rare, whatever, that people see every once now and then. But in my heart, I believed it was Bigfoot, but not until in the last year, thinking about it, watching stuff, I know 100% it was Sasquatch. But the next encounter I've had, I think about it every day. And all I could say is when it happened, I was so scared. But it had to be around 85. I think I was 7 or 8 years old. And I'd always, when I was a kid, until I probably got about 9 or 10, I would sleep on my mom and dad. They'd be in the bed, and I'd, have a pallet or a little, pallet made on the floor. And I remember I was sleeping on my stomach, and something jumped on my back. I can't remember now, did I think it was somebody else or what, but it physically took me and shook me. I guess, I had a shirt on, it shook me. Well, 2 or 3 times I stopped. I'm sorry, it stopped. I got up, and I remember I got up, and I was so scared I couldn't talk. I kept trying to wake my mom up, and because she was the closest to me. I shook her, woke her up and said, "Mom," I can't remember what I told her. She just said, go back to bed. It's a dream." But I knew it wasn't no dream. So I remember in this mobile home, you'd walk around the bed, and then it had the bathroom. And in the bathroom, it had a little square window, real small. And I could see through there my grandma's place. She lived in a little small RV, like 36 foot, permanently. And then there was a little storm cellar. And when I was looking, there was a little path through there. We'd always look. And I looked and see, and all I can explain to you from what I remember, that it had to be maybe 2 foot, 3 foot, about that tall. And all I can remember, I can't remember its face or what it was wearing, but its legs to its feet was fur. And through the years, I always thought it was something evil, and I don't really want to mention it, but I thought it was something demonic, or like an evil imp. But it could be. But I really believe now, because in eastern Oklahoma, especially northeast Oklahoma, there is a lot of sightings of, little people, whatever you want to call them. I don't know how it could have got in there, if it was something physical, or what. But I remember it was walking and it looked back. I can't remember its face. It looked back at me, and then it just took off running, through that little path, and then ran down the gravel road. I don't know. I remember I got up. That's what I think I got up to pee, and that's when I seen it. And it wasn't long after I woke my mom up. She said, "Just go back to sleep. It's a dream." But it physically, And I was terrified for years. I'd sleep with the lights on and stuff until I got, a little older, probably about 11 or 12. I started, sleeping with the lights on. So I quit sleeping with the lights on. But where we lived, like I said, it was a bunch of mobile homes and all our families lived there. But not far from there, about a quarter of a mile, I had a first cousin. And I've thought about this in the last couple years. Well, I've never forgot it. He told me that it was at least 2 times. When we were 12, 13 years old, we'd go up there and play video games, Nintendo and stuff. And he'd always have strange things happen to him. But he told me in this mobile home, I remember it didn't have no skirting around the backside of it. If y'all guys know about mobile homes, it was on those concrete blocks. And the window had to be, because I remember I was looking through the window and my head was about right here. So, to the window is probably 5 feet. But he told me it happened 2 times to him that he woke up at night playing the game late or something, and he smelled something that was rotten. He said it was like garbage, something dead. And I remember his room. When you're in his room, you walk out the door and you go to walk down the hall. I'll never forget, I grew up in down at his place playing video games. You know how you are, kids. But when you walk out of his room and take a right to go to the kitchen and the living room, there's a little window right there, to the left in that narrow hall. And he said he looked through the door when he go to walk out, he smelled that smell, and he looked through the door. So it was real late at night. He could see, the corner, there was something hairy and had red eyes. And he said he got scared to death. I guess he ran back in. He said, in his room and just got in bed. And he said that happened to him 2 times. But there's a lot of sightings right there in that eastern Oklahoma, especially down towards where those Native American, burial grounds is. I've always heard people. It's just until the last year or two, I really thought about stuff, looking back on it, and took it seriously. Before I just, because a lot of things that would happen, and I'm not saying all of them, I would pass them out, just say that they were just something supernatural, not that it was Bigfoot or something like that. But in another incident, the incident wasn't recently, but a good friend of mine, she lives here where I live in town, and she's been a family friend. Her brother's a pastor here in town. But she's 65 years old, and she used to live down there real close where the burial grounds are, the spiral mounds, I'll just call them. And she's 65 years old. I'll go check on her a couple times a week and call her. She's just a good friend, older friend. And, she don't like to drive if she needs to go to Walmart or something like that. But anyway, about a month ago, I was over there and I was kind of mentioning, because we don't really talk about cryptids or nothing like that. We'll talk about going to church or the Lord, or politics or something about some show or something. But I mentioned to her about I had I believe 100% it's a Bigfoot encounter. She said, you know what? Now, she told me these encounters at 2 different times, but she told me that when she was 15 years old, her and her cousin snuck out. And where they lived, they was kind of the bottom land, just straight country. Like I said, 3 miles from where I grew up, it was by the spiral mounds. It's called Fort Coffee. It's just real, not even, don't have a store or anything. It's a little community. But she said she snuck out. She didn't tell me why, but it was her and her cousin. But she's on a gravel road, and she heard something growling. So she said, this is some dog, old dog or something out there and got loose or something. So she looks back. Now she told me this, and I drilled her for details, but she said, this is a long time ago. But she looked back and she told me, she said it was the biggest dog she ever seen in her life. She said, I said, what it looked like? She said, like a wolf. And I know around there, of course, we don't have any wolves, but we have coyotes, And she said it was the biggest. I said, was it a big, mastiff, pit bull? She said, no. This thing was humongous and had red eyes. Anyway, she takes off running, and she got to her cousin's place, looked back, it was gone. And that was basically what happened with that encounter. But of course, I grilled her until she kind of got irritated. I done told you that's the truth. But then this one here that really freaked me out, she probably lived, I don't know, quarter of a mile, half a mile from these mountains. And like I said, there's a lot of strange stuff's happened around there where I lived and around the mountains. But she said she was 9 years old. Her mom, she done something unruly. Her mom, said, get out of the house or something. She said it wasn't real late, but it was dark, 9 or 10. So she got outside and, was all mad. How kids are and stuff. Said there was a butane tank or a propane tank. And a lot of people, I guess they still got them, but the real long, propane tanks, the big ones, I guess the gas company comes and fills them up. But anyway, she got on them because I remember when I was a kid, I'd get on them and ride them like a horse. But she got on them and was just sitting there, all mad. She was puffed up. And she said she looked and all she could say, there was a family of scarecrows. So what are you talking about? She said there was 3 scarecrow creatures. I said, was the humans with costumes? No, she said they were scarecrow. They had the stitched up mouths. They had black eyes, and all she could really tell me is it looked like a family, like a mama and a daddy and a little kid. So it was a smaller one. I said, well, what happened? She said he just started walking towards me, and she said I ran to the house. I said, how far was it from you? She said it wasn't close, but it wasn't far away. I guess years ago she could remember all the details, but she ran to the house and started beating on the door, and her mom finally let her in, but she never seen him again. I've never, that blew my mind when she told me that. But yeah, she said all she remembered, they had black eyes, a stitched up mouth, and said looked like scarecrows, like something that would come off, the thing, whatever, the post. But I think that's about it, Daniel, that I could think of right offhand. I got a bad memory. I'm old, so I got one of those bad memories. But yeah, that encounter from 2011, I've never forgot it. I think about it every day. And like I said, that's what got me going down the rabbit hole. And I believe in my heart 100% that was the Sasquatch. Now, was it a dog, man? I don't know. I don't think it was. If I had it over with and that would happen to me now, I'd have probably done things different, went out there looking for footprints or something like that. And I won't get into it because, Daniel don't want to talk about certain things on the channel. I respect that. But I've had a lot of paranormal stuff happen too. So all my life and throughout my life. But I won't get into talking about that. But that was my main encounter that I had. And I guess, Daniel, that's about it. Unless I'm forgetting something I told you, because like I said, I got a bad memory, brother.
Man, I mean, it's like a mix of everything. Dogman,
No,
Bigfoot, scarecrow, possible little person jumping up and down on your back and you're like 7, 8 years old. I mean, come on now. I just got a few questions, man.
mhm.
So let's see here. You said it was crashing through the woods. You said it kind of sounded like an elephant. Now, when you first heard this crashing, did it stop deeper in the woods before it let out that loud roar, or did it come straight up to like the edge of the woods?
It was crashing. I seen it. I heard it. I looked, and I started seeing the trees. Well, first I didn't see the trees because I, was coming through the woods, and then I started seeing like certain little trees, or I don't even know how big the trees was, kind of part. And then when it got to the edge, then it stopped, and that's when it roared.
Did you get a good visual on this creature?
No, I didn't see it at all, Dave.
Okay.
Not at all.
All right. You said it sounded kind of like a lion, more guttural. Did it sound like it was mixed with anything, or just a straight, super deep, loud lion roar?
Super deep, loud lion roar, and there's no bears hardly around there.
Yeah.
You go in southeast Oklahoma, there is, and I lived there my whole life, 40 some years, and only one time there was like a small black bear around there. So there's no bears, and there's probably little mountain lions here and there and stuff like that, and but no, this thing was huge to do what it was doing.
Okay. Let's move on over to the little person. You said that it was about 2 to 3 feet tall, and you said what really you remember the most is from the knees down to the feet.
Yeah.
It had like furry legs. Now, here's my question for you. When you were laying, I assume you were like laying on your stomach because you said it jumped on your back. How many times did it jump on you? And then, like, where did it go? Like, okay, when it jumped on you, what was your first reaction?
Well, when it jumped on me, probably, if I remember, it physically jerked me about 2 or 3 times, and I knew something wasn't right immediately because I didn't add this. Down the road, probably, about, I don't know how far it'd be. Probably 200 yards is the woods that I had to encounter, because I grew up. Because when I was married to my ex-wife, it was closer to the woods, if that makes sense. Maybe about 200 yards. And a couple days before that, my uncle, which was a pastor, he's passed away now. He's a preacher. He said something small come to him,
Mm-hmm.
Now, we thought he did. From what I remember, that's what kind of I knew when that happened that it wasn't nothing good, because he mentioned something coming to him, and I thought it was something in the evil realm, at first, and my whole life I thought that. It's just recently I'm thinking that might have been a little person,
Yeah. Okay. So again, when it jumped off of you, did you roll over to look at it, or?
I was scared. I remember I was scared stiff. I didn't move.
You just
for a
laid there.
second, just lay there, and then I started saying, hollering for my mom.
Yeah.
She couldn't hear me, and then I remember getting up and then shaking her, to get up.
Did you hear it run away?
No.
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 Okay. All right. Now you say that you then later got to go to the bathroom, and you looked. What was it, out a window?
Yeah, it was a real small window in the bathroom.
And you said it ran through a path and then down a gravel road. Like, what
Yeah.
path did it run down?
Well, the path was like a path. Like if you come out by, this is older mobile home we had when I was a kid, but you walk out the back porch, and I remember you go around, go behind the mobile home. We had a chain link fence all the way around our place, but we had a gate there that you'd open up. As soon as you go through the gate, there was a storm cellar, old storm cellar my dad and uncles built, and then probably 30, 40 feet, the path goes, and then it widens open to a yard, which was my grandma's. She had a little RV there, that she lived in.
So it ran down that path.
And then it took off down the gravel road, because it was a gravel road that all our mobile homes were on,
Okay.
It's a gravel road.
And about how long did you see it running down the gravel road before it disappeared, so to speak?
Probably 2 or 3 seconds. I don't think that I really watched it go. I think when I seen it, because when I looked, I seen it and it looked back. I can't remember its face at all. Like I said, all I remember, it was fur from its waist down all the way to its legs. That's all I remember. It looked back, turned, and then took off. And then I think that I didn't stay, and sit there. I think that I went to my mom and tried to wake her up again and tell her, she said she's having a bad dream. But it was weird. My mom would have, a lot of things happen to her too. I guess she was just maybe in deep sleep. I don't know, because any other time I especially when I got older, we would discuss certain things, and she would took it lightly.
Now, you said that you saw furry legs down from the knees to the feet. Did you get a look at the feet?
No.
No? Okay. All right. So let's go over to your cousin's encounter.
Mhm.
And I just really have, one, he said he looked out the door kind of and looked down the side, and he sees it kind of peeking around the corner of the trailer. Did he ever say how tall it was?
Well, that's what I was trying to say earlier. That was about 5 feet to the window, so it had to at least be 6 foot. Because when he walked out, he told me, he said, I walked up through his door of his room, and he looked, and he could see the window there. And that's when he seen it looking in. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
It had red eyes because he smelled it first.
So probably 6 to maybe 7 feet.
Yeah,
Wow.
it had to be. Yeah, 6, 7 feet at least.
So we're probably looking at a young adult, maybe.
Yeah.
Older teenager. And did he kind of say how wide it was, or no?
He's told me just seen its head, its face. I mean, not face. He's seen that it was all, furry. That's all, and he just red eyes. I guess he took off, he didn't really, but it had red eyes. He told me that for sure.
Okay. And then on to your friend's encounters. So, you said this happened near the Spiral Mounds, Fort Coffee, and she saw red eyes, and it was humongous. Did she hear any noises coming from this creature other than the growl?
I can't. She never said.
No?
It was kind of like she seen it. It growled. She seen it. Stunned how big it was. They took off. They didn't even look back. She said.
Now, when they took off, did they hear it coming behind them, or did you have a sense that it was coming behind them?
She said it was coming. It was after them.
Okay.
She could hear it, but when she got to the house, turned around, it was gone.
Okay. And then the scarecrows, man. Holy smokes. I don't know.
Yeah, it's freak.
I don't know what to do with that. I mean, I've only heard of one other encounter, and that was when Sabrina told us about that encounter. That's crazy. So, again, there were 3 of them. What made her think that it was a family?
Well, she said that it was 2 of them, and it was a smaller one. That's all she kept saying. It looked like a family of them. And when she told me that, I mean, I sat there and questioned her, because as soon as she told me, it was just out of left field, because I was talking about, I had an encounter. We grew up close, in the same area. And then she starts telling me that story. Then I get thinking about what Sabrina, said.
Yeah.
And now I started, zooming right in on. I started, fixating on it. We started probably 30 minutes talking about it.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to know exactly what went on, but she said it was a smaller one, and just that's the way she perceived it, that it was a family.
Did she ever say about how tall the bigger ones were?
She never really said. She
No.
just said it was just, like a human size. Just, they were just like regular height, She never really said.
Did she ever get into how they moved? Because you said they were moving towards her. She said they were coming towards her.
She said, no, she didn't really say, Daniel, how they was moving. She said they were walking towards her.
Okay. All right. And about how far away from her did they get before she got to the house?
Let's see. Well, she told me that, because I asked her how far they were from her. She said they were not close, but they were not real far away. So
Okay.
the way she talked, they was probably, I don't know, 30 or 40 feet from her. And then when she got up and they were walking, she said they were walking slow. I know she said that. But she kept running. When she ran to the house, which wasn't real far to the door, she said she peeked back one time and they were slowly coming. They weren't running towards her or nothing. And then when she got beaten on the door, I guess she started beating it, for dear life. And that's where her mom opened it up and let her in. And then she told her mom about it, and of course her mom looked out and there was nothing there.
Okay. All right, dude. That's a lot of stuff, man. Like, for real. And again,
Yeah.
Your one in 2011 was definitely a strong Class B.
Yeah.
I mean, you're watching trees part.
Yep.
It's that but it must have been huge.
Yeah, I think about it all the time. Because in the woods they had bigger trees, real tall trees.
Yeah.
Then they had smaller ones, 10 or 15, feet. Then they had ones, 7 or 8 feet. Because I go to them woods all the time. There's just different sizes of trees.
Mhm.
There's always woods through them woods, because we'd make tree houses. Because there was a little creek. I didn't mention that. A little creek back there, which wasn't wide, maybe 6 foot wide, that would drive sometimes, and then sometimes, it wouldn't. And that would, go deep in the woods.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, that's crazy, man. So hey, go ahead and plug your channels. And again, tell us about your special for Halloween.
All right. First of all, say, just look up Ashes Antics if you're into gaming. That's my main channel. This is my logo, the dog, Ashes Antics, on YouTube. And I'm on Twitch too. And I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and X, if y'all guys are into that. But anyway, that's my gaming channel. But my podcast channel is the Boom Boom Room. Is the name of it. But if you look for it on YouTube, you've got to type in the Boom Boom Room 777 to find it. But I interview different people. I've interviewed Daniel, different content creators. I've got a few encounters on there. Others, I got a good friend of mine is a Muslim. We get talking about different religions and stuff, So there's a lot of different content, but I'm focusing mainly on the Whisper series. And like I said before, we go state by state telling of ghost stories, folklore, me and a friend of mine. And We do that every Saturday. We premiere that on the Boom Boom Room. And then I drop videos about once a week, if I can. Some weeks I don't. But the premiere is a Halloween special. And we talk about it's going to be October the 24th premiere. And we're talking about the OG, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Mummy, the witch, Baba Yaga, Dracula. So it's going to be really neat on the Boom Boom Room, that premiere. If you can get a chance, guys, check it out.
All right, guys, you heard it here first about the Halloween special. Go check it out, man. I'm going to check it out for real. So, well, man, I just want to say thanks for everything you do for my channel, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Daniel, bringing great content, man. Your best channel on YouTube. We love you.
Man, I appreciate that. I think there's better ones out there, but I'm going to keep giving you guys everything I got.
Well, you're doing a good job, Daniel. Don't forget that.
All right. Well, man, you hang tight for a couple minutes. I'll be right back with you, all right? You guys, that was my bro, Ashes, man. Honestly, he's such a cool guy, so chill. So please go to his channels, Ashes Antics and the Boom Boom Room. If you're looking it up on YouTube, it's at the Boom Boom Room 777. Show him some love. I mean, he's such a great guy. You guys, again, across the world, people are seeing things more so than ever. And again, I don't know what it is. I don't know. People say the veil is thinning. Is it? I don't know. As the population of the earth gets bigger, it encroaches in areas that it hadn't in a century. And people are seeing things and not understanding why they're there. Well, they've been there all along. So just a little bit of food for thought, man. If you guys get out there, you do some camping, you're going in an area for the first time, or even if you've been there a few times, always be wary of what's around you. Make sure you're with people you know very well. And if you're going solo hiking or camping, make sure somebody knows the exact route you're taking and exactly where you're going. You guys, I'm your host, Dano. Thank you so much for everything you guys do for the channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe, like, share, comment. And that's it, you guys. I'm not going to get out of here without saying just what my buddy Josh always says. Stay prayed up, everybody. And as I always like to say, remember, legends begin with the sighting. You guys have a fantastic night. I'll see you on the next show. Good night, everybody.
I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?